So I just saw Ready Player One, the newest film from Steven Spielberg, and I just wanted to have fun. I had zero expectations for it, and yet I was so bored. And here's the thing, I really don't want to care about accidentally dropping spoilers, so here is my concise spoiler-free review before I get into the specifics. If you want a good action movie with excellent CGI, don't watch Ready Player One. If you want a clever sci-fi with interesting concepts and ideas, don't watch Ready Player One. If you laugh or clap every time they mention or show something that you recognize, Ready Player One is going to be your favorite movie of the year. I know that was kinda the point of it, but there is no pleasure in references when the characters explain what the movie is referencing. I really appreciated some of the smaller ones that were usually hidden in the background, but other than that, it felt so pandering. Other than that, I believe this movie is kind of a mess. I should probably get over some of the more simple stuff. In terms of CGI, I wasn't blown away, it just felt somewhat like a video game, which I guess was what they were going for, so good job on that. Some of the fake lens flare effects were a bit too much, and I thought that the character designs were really boring, especially for the evil corporation. They were always just fighting a bunch of faceless soldiers, and the main bad guy just wears a suit. There is also a mercenary played by TJ Miller, the only one that has a fun, dumb bad guy design. And now that I think about it, he never really did anything in the movie. I mean, he gets the orb to protect the last challenge from the other players, but he is also ordered to kill Wade, our protagonist, and then just disappears from the movie until he is killed in the end. Why did he need to be in there? The characters are kinda boring and standard, some of them have arcs, some of them show some signs of personality, but you need to understand that there is nothing complex about this film. When it comes to story and the characters, it always gives you the bare minimum. Wade's parents are dead and he lives with his aunt, and I think when the evil corporation blows up their house and she dies, you are supposed to care, but we only got one scene with her, and she and her husband were douchebags in it, so At one point, out of nowhere, Artemis, or in other words, love interest, just flips a switch and all of a sudden she's angry with Wade because the movie needed to progress, I guess. There is no real build up to it or any reason for it. H, who is Wade's best friend in the Oasis, who is a guy, a male specimen, tells Wade to be careful because you never know who the person behind an avatar really is. And it was such an obvious foreshadowing because H's voice is pitch shifted.
Don't know, this is what bad pitch shifting sounds like.
They basically duplicated her voice to try and hide it, but if you paid any attention to it, it was really easy to figure out what the twist was going to be. Some of the acting was really bad and the dialogue was a bit too cheesy for me. Also, for this type of movie, I think it wasn't self-aware enough. There were some moments when you were supposed to take it seriously, but it just didn't really connect with me. I didn't really enjoy the action either. There were two big action sequences in the Oasis, one in the beginning and one in the end, and they are both a mess to watch. The first one was a race and it was so horrible. It was just this long barrage of explosions and grey looking cars smashing left and right. It was a blurry mess and it never ended. I couldn't even follow in which car was the protagonist. It just went on and on. It seriously hurt my eyes. This race is also part of the first challenge to get to the Easter egg and finish the game. And the solution for it was to simply drive backwards. I don't know if it's the same in the novel, but according to this movie it took 5 years for someone to figure that out, and this tells me that the movie about gamers does not really understand the gamers. You know what they like to do most? Is fuck around in every single game, trying to find bugs and exploits. If the solution was that simple, people would have figured it out in the first day. I mean, in real life, PT was solved in one day, and it was supposed to take like a really long time to do. Also, the world didn't make much sense to me, like the majority of the movie takes place in the Oasis, and very little is explained about real life. Like, why is there so much poverty? And are people even working, or do they spend all their days inside the Oasis? If that's the case, how are they even still alive? I mean, I know that in-game currency equals to money in the real world, but if so many people just play a VR game, wouldn't that destroy economy and the production of goods? And other than the drones and the VR world, technology doesn't seem to be that advanced. Why am I even questioning this? Who cares? It's a movie about pop culture references. Also, they try to establish rules for the headset. We see our protagonist put the goggles on and being transported to the Oasis, but to move in the Oasis he needs to move in real life, so he's using an omnidirectional treadmill. And towards the end, this is completely thrown out the window, because we can see people on the street with headsets, and at one point they are inside a tiny van. Wouldn't those people constantly run into things? That's really funny to think about, but yeah, it doesn't make much sense. Also, I thought that once you put the headset on, you could only see and hear what's in the virtual world, but there are multiple scenes in the real life when people are communicating with someone who's wearing a headset, and when you think about it, that must be extremely uncomfortable and annoying. Even though it's better made, I'd rather rewatch Tomb Raider. It was just too long and there was not much holding my interest. In the end, I'm going to give Ready Player One a 5 out of 10. If you're looking for a better movie with similar style and feeling, I would highly recommend Scott Pilgrim vs. the World and Turbo Kid. Thank you all so much for watching, subscribe for more, and I will see you next week. Cha-cha!